If you've ever been called nice, but you're secretly exhausted, this one's for you because people pleasing isn't a survival habit, it's a strategy. And perfectionism, that's just people pleasing in high heels. That's how I look at it. So to be honest, that's how. And today I'm answering questions from my Substack family that were left under the people pleasing recovery toolkit because your comments are basically the curriculum. And hi, everyone. My name is Sly. If you're new here, welcome to the video version of the highly sensitive HSP Sanctuary, where we do depth, we do tenderness, and nobody gets shamed for being a deep feeler. Been getting comments on the people pleasing recovery toolkit post. And I want to shout out some of my Substack family. And I want to start by shouting out Sam, Melanie, Ria, Amy, Amy, and the therapist who came undone, Feppy, or Feffy. I hope I said your name right, and Morea. You're all the reason this space feels alive. You're not just reading my posts and my notes and commenting, you're helping shape what I talk about. And also, I wanted to name some behind the scenes supporters. I want to thank Nan, Dawn, Lisa, Heather, Shelby, and Lauren. All of you have been cheering me on behind the scenes. I feel your encouragement. And yes, I do doubt myself, especially now that I'm finding my voice. I do doubt myself sometimes. So when you all remind me to keep going, you're all just helping me find my voice out loud. And as I said, this is episode 4. Welcome. And I I wanted to be honest that every time I do these videos is a practice that I'm doing and to build muscle because I'm still nervous and getting used to being on camera. So thank you for supporting me behind the scenes. And lastly, I wanted to thank my very near dear friend of mine, Glo Atanmo. She's my ride or die. She is very supportive. I thank you so much for your encouragement, Glo, and for getting me to begin this daily YouTube journey in 2026. Thank you so much, and I love you very much. Now, if you watched episode 1, you know I started this series by naming the nervous system. Like, how would I say it? I would say like, "Hey, I'm here, nervous and all, but I'm doing it anyway." And episode 2 is where we started talking about the patterns, the way we replay conversations, energy, and scanning rooms for danger. And then episode 3 is where we started calling out the cost, the quiet resentment, the fatigue, the self-abandonment, and self-erasure. And so for today, episode 4 is the next step, which is how people pleasing hides inside perfectionism and what it actually takes to get your life back. I also have to admit that I am a recovering perfectionist and a recovering people pleaser. Now that we have that out of the way, let's dive right into the top 5 questions that came up in that post on Substack. The first question is, why do people pleasing and perfectionism show up together? So I want to start with what Sam said. Sam named something huge. She said, people pleasing is big for me, and so is perfectionism. So here's the truth. They are not separate. I look at them as they're siblings. People pleasing says, keep everyone comfortable so that I'm safe. Perfectionism says, be flawless so nobody can reject me. Different outfits, same fear. That's how I look at them. And the gag is, perfectionism can look like ambition, It can look like I'm just disciplined, but underneath, it's usually a quiet bargain. Like, if I do everything right, I won't get hurt. So, my takeaway, and to fully answer Sam's question, is I look at it as perfectionism isn't high standards, it's fear of being human in front of someone who once made being human feel unsafe, which takes me to question number two. Question number two was, what about checkout guilt and the small everyday people pleasing? So now Morea said something that sounds very small, but it's not small. She said when she sees a price higher than she wants, she feels obligated to buy it anyway, so she doesn't disappoint the shopkeeper. Hmm. So my answer would be, first of all, that's not irrational. That's pattern intelligence, is how I look at it. That's your body saying, avoid discomfort at all costs, right? And you've been doing that for so long, and it feels like you're being polite when it's actually self-abandonment. And this is how people pleasing stays alive, not in a big dramatic, way. I think it's in tiny moments where you keep choosing other people's comfort over your own needs. So my takeaway or lesson, and to answer Maria's question, is your money isn't leaving your account because you're bad with budgeting. Sometimes it's leaving because you're still trying to purchase emotional safety. That takes me into question number three. No contact. How do you deal with judgment and horror faces when you go no contact? Amy said something so brave. She went no contact, and little Amy is emerging. And then she followed up later and said, it feels so good to be validated because people look horrified when I share it. Yes, I agree with you, Amy, because I've also done no contact. That'll be a topic for another episode. And so, listen, Amy, I think the horror faces are not always about you. Just remember that. It's not about you. Sometimes it's grief, sometimes it's denial, sometimes it's their fear of the truth. That a person can be, that person can be either a friend, a sibling, a parent, and they can still be unsafe for you. So the way I look at it too is no contact is really about punishment. We are not punishing those people. It's about protecting ourselves. And it's you saying that I'm done setting myself on fire to prove that I'm lovable. And my takeaway and lesson for that question for you, Amy, would be no contact isn't the absence of love, it's the presence of self-respect. Like we have to just put ourselves first and respect ourselves. So that don't feel guilty, and just know that you're doing this for yourself to protect yourself, and it's self-respect. That takes me to question number four. Why do we minimize and say maybe it wasn't bad? Hmm. So Ria, I want to say Ria, REA, pulled that line about trauma, distortions, and shame. And that one really hit because so many of us keep doing this thing where we say, it wasn't that bad. Other people had it worse. Maybe I'm just exaggerating. We minimize ourselves. And minimizing is not objectivity. I think, how would I say it? I think it's a coping skill. I would say it's a coping skill. If you grew up needing to stay attached to people who couldn't hold your feelings, your brain learned to downplay your pain because you being honest is going to cost you the connection. So you didn't lie because you were because you were being dramatic. I want to say, yeah, dramatic. You just minimized because you were trying to survive the situation, and that way you can stay loved and cared for, and so they don't abandon you, and so they don't leave you. So my takeaway for that would be, hmm, When you say that that wasn't bad, that's not the truth talking. Uh, that's our younger self showing up and you trying to stay loyal to what hurt you. Yeah. Our younger self shows up because we want to just continue to minimize ourselves and stay loyal to those people that hurt us. That takes me to our last question, which is question number 5. What does healing forward really mean? And this one came from the therapist who came undone. Um, she said something that honestly made me sit back like, wow, we can we can hand down hurt and we can also hand down health. And through all these relationships, we we end up just forgetting ourselves, and we shouldn't be, you know, that we should always put ourselves first, because when we hand down the hurt or we hand down health, and health fans out through all those relationships that we're trying to hold on to, those relationships that are not, they're not serving us anymore. Um, what I what I would say to that, to the therapist who came undone, healing isn't a personal development. I think it's a relational impact, because when you stop people pleasing, you don't just get freer. You get you get clear. You get clear and you get free, and you show that your nervous system what safety feels like, and that everyone around you benefits, because I think regulated people change rooms, because you showing up as a regulated self or as a regulated person, you tend to attract people. Your energy will attract people. And I'm big on just staying regulated, being self-aware, and regulating yourself. So I wanted, my takeaway for this one would be, you don't heal in isolation, you heal in ripple effects, right? Like if you are regulated, you attract more people, and it also encourages you to continue staying regulated, and maybe that ripple effect will get the people who have done their work around you, um, that have been working through their trauma, and you can all end up, having a better relationship. So I want to thank all of you for asking those questions, and I had a good time answering them because it made me think through. And as I said, this space is a space where we share what we're going through as highly sensitive people, and we get to heal together in real time. You get to witness me with my shaky voice and my nervousness, and reading through the questions, answering your questions. And if you're watching and thinking, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, this is me, I want you to know that I see you, and you're welcome here, to share in the comments if you, any of this, hit you and you resonated with any of this. I want you to know that the episodes are building on each other on purpose, because episode 1 is the moment I stopped hiding. Episode 2, episode 1 is the moment I stopped hiding and started naming what's happening in my body, which is me being nervous on camera. Episode 2 is the patterns that, like scanning, overthinking, self-erasure, self-abandoning. Episode 3 is the cost of being the nice one, how it can quietly drain your life. And now this is our episode 4, is the reveal. I would look at it as perfectionism is not your personality, it's a strategy. So if this one resonated with you, the earlier ones will feel like the missing chapters. No pressure. That's just the full story. So that, because each episode builds onto the next. And again, I have a couple of questions to leave you guys with. And these are, where in your life are you calling it being nice, but your body experiences it as pressure? You just, I would say, name a place, just one. That's where your healing starts. Question two, if you stopped earning love through performance, what would you finally let yourself receive? If you stopped earning love through performance, what would you finally let yourself receive? And if you feel safe, tell me in the comments one sentence, because somebody's reading this is going to feel less alone, and that's the goal of this space. And thank you for being here. Thank you for building this sanctuary with me. I'll see you tomorrow.